Hi everybody, so this video will be about how I went from being too afraid of studying computer science to launching my Guidian web application. And it only took about 1 decade. And if you don't want that fear is preventing you from doing what you would love to do, then watch this video and follow along, because I have developed a structure that will make you so much more productive, and along the way it will uncover and show you where fears are blocking your next steps. And each next step could be the crucial and important step that will really bring us forward to living our dream life. And if we don't have this kind of structure, we will gladly, led by our subconscious, led into a pattern of avoiding these steps out of fear. And this kind of pattern to take a detour that can be many, many years long, this pattern will become the default of our life. And happiness is not the result of leading a life inside of this pattern. I'm sure you would agree, right? So a saying goes that the journey is the destination, right? And in German it sounds a little bit different even. It's like you say, the way is the goal. And that means that reaching a certain goal is not what makes you happy, but it is the journey, the process. And being on the way, on the path, enjoying that, enjoying the becoming. But there is a flaw here that I'm sure you will agree. So listen to this. If you already know that there is no goal, or that your goal leads to a state of being or of living that you don't want, then how will that make you feel about the way to that goal? If you see the outcome, the goal, and you say, yeah, this is fucking cool, this is what I want. And then you have like a manual with steps that lead to this final outcome. I'm sure then you would enjoy the ride. Agree? So I created the Guidian web app. The name Guidian for me means a guide and guardian combined. Of what? Of being focused and motivated to walk the steps toward an outcome that you want and that you have chosen for yourself. And to do this, I actually learned in a 3-month coaching program, or I was reminded or agreeing to finally trying this. I'm sure I've heard it before in videos or wherever. And then I was actually doing it a few years ago. And I have generated this picture here with Gemini AI. I think it symbolizes so well how it feels like. And in many games like this, you will have quests that you will do one after another that lead to growth and to the development of the character and to the character becoming stronger or experiencing epic adventures and feeling great about themselves. In psychology, this is often referred to as the hero's journey, and that this is a common thing we all experience in life. And of course, it has to do with challenges that had to be overcome. And I will talk a little bit about challenges that I had to overcome. But first, I want to really speak out loud the vision that I have set in stone here, and that I breathe for, and that I'm walking towards. So, the Guidian web app here and my roadmap, this is a roadmap, and I have written here what it will be like when it is finished, if it's accomplished. And this is the road to beyond 10,000 euro monthly revenue for me via the Guidian web app. And this app helped thousands of others to dream again and achieve their dreams by planning a roadmap ahead and defining milestones and breaking them down into small actionable steps. And the proactive AI assistance helped everyone maintain focus and motivation. And the task reflection and analysis system helped many to become aware of inner blockages around certain topics. I can tell you here that for me, publishing everything is so far the biggest challenge for me, and I have the greatest blockage or amounts of blockages here, and yeah, the system has revealed it. And through automatic coaching suggestions, and if needed, personal coaching partners that offer sessions to the user base, those blockages were overcome. Publicly shared roadmaps in the community space continue to inspire countless individuals to believe that any path can be walked, any obstacle can be overcome. And the most followed roadmaps have left invaluable insight and guidance behind for others to walk into the same footsteps. And with every success story that offered an in-depth roadmap of the path taken, it became easier for everyone else to believe in their own path. Many people's paths have crossed that way, leading to cooperation and companionship. So believing all of this for me is just simply a perspective and a shift in mindset. And it's some work to get into that. And before I talk more about the challenges that I had, I want to show you here an extreme case, an example I found of someone who developed an unstoppable mindset and what obstacles he had to overcome. Let's listen to it for a minute or so, because I find it so valuable.
Resilience begins with perspective. I want you to know that circumstances are secondary to your happiness. Let me start by saying I'm thankful that I was born without arms or legs. And I know that sounds crazy, but when I look back in hindsight, I absolutely realize how much my circumstances have shaped the man I've become. It shaped my entrepreneurial spirit, my passion for life, my marriage, my kids, and my mission. What I've learned is that your circumstances do not define your happiness. Your mindset does. I've met so many people who are physically whole, but emotionally paralyzed. And I've realized that we waste so much energy comparing suffering instead of asking, what can this pain produce in me? I want to ask you a question. What if your biggest challenge is actually the doorway to your greatest calling. Think about that. The second point when I talk about resilience is point 2, resistance builds resilience. You see, there is no resilience without resistance. Let's be real. I've battled depression, anxiety, isolation. I've battled suicidal thoughts. But here's the key. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain. It's about learning how to rise. And eventually, can everyone say this with me? Eventually, because the word saved my life. That word, eventually, we do rise above. Eventually, we do see victory. And yes, waves of resistance will come. And yes, life will knock you down. But resilience is the voice in your soul, in your spirit, in your mind that says, this isn't the end of me.
Okay, I will stop here and just, wow, I found this today, and I think how much more motivational can a speaker become here? Like Nick, helping people to overcome what everybody personally would perceive as an impossible challenge, right? So it feels nearly nuts now to talk about the challenges I had and that they too meant suffering for me, even though it seems uncomparable, but that is how it is for everyone. It's so personal. And I want to walk in these kind of footsteps and help us fix into stone what challenge you actually want to overcome and where that would lead you. So when I scroll completely down here, then I am in the year 2020, and I decided that I wanted to learn something that pays me well enough and can be done remotely. That's what I really felt that I wanted to be able to do. And I wrote here that as a hobby computer enthusiast, I decided for a software developer apprenticeship, which is a job training in a company, starting over completely at 31 years old. And even before that, you could say, haven't accomplished much in my life before. When you just look at it from a mainstream perspective, I needed like the double amount of time to finish a bachelor's degree in a direction that I felt then, or even inside or on that way, inside that university degree, that will not lead me anywhere I will be happy and fulfilled. And when I finished that finally, while I don't even know why I did that, just out of an ego to be someone who finishes things he started or something, I wasted so many years, and then I did something completely different that was so interesting to me at that time, and I wanted to understand this in the world, is to find a very sustainable way of living. And I joined a very like permaculture-esque gardening or small agriculture project, a city farm in the industrial part of Germany I was living at that time. And that lasted for another 3 years, and that combined, those two things combined, are already nearly 10 years. And what I found that I had going as the most enjoyable part of that was digital, you could say, automating or making more efficient the daily processes of the business. Like, how will we get across the potential customers what's available right now, what can be harvested, what can be ordered, and where can it be delivered to, how can it be ordered, how can it be paid, and to streamline all of these things using simple digital tools, for example, of the Google suite or others. It felt nearly already like I'm a software developer. Even I wasn't coding, but I used no code tools to develop workflows that it would save us so much time. So that's why when, because of a certain circumstance and some setbacks, I decided that this direction wasn't financially fruitful for me. I took that and I wanted to turn this into my goal for the next years, coming years, or for my life. And I was saying in the beginning that I was at one point in my youth, I was afraid of learning computer science, which really was what most interested me. But I heard or I knew that the mathematics requirements there are the same as for engineering degrees, and I wasn't the best in math classes and I didn't have fun calculating stuff on paper or wherever. So I was afraid that I would fail anyways because of that, and I didn't go down that route. And how successful, how happy can you be on any kind of avoidance from that, which you would know would probably fulfill you? And some mindset problems there were preventing me from going into some company and learning on the job. I thought I needed an universal degree, which for anyone listening, in my opinion, is total bollocks. And yeah, I got into that then, found a company, got the training, and even worked there for another year. And that made me then end up in what is like the highest peak of civilization and personal development journeys that are sold to us in our childhood. Getting into a 9 to 5 job. So I was a junior software developer by title, but during the trainings I wasn't really regarded as someone who was talented at coding. And even if writing code is not all of what a software developer is doing regarding on the position, it is of course an important part, and I was somehow slow at it or not so precise, and the more experienced and talented persons there, they could somehow feel that something is probably missing, which how it turned out now seems to be perfectly balanced out by AI being able to write code hundreds and 1,000 times faster than any human ever could. And it's every month cracking some new record or benchmark of in complexity of what it is able to accomplish, which means translating ideas, thoughts, strategy, and needs of people in software into finished code without errors and with even very good structure and things like this, like good quality, so that it then now just takes ideas, taste, and the will to build something for anyone to build nearly anything. And I saw that during the job training, well, ChatGPT was slowly becoming an alternative to Google search for solutions in code that someone else has already written, maybe to a problem that you wanted to solve. Like back in the day, that is what also experienced developers told me, is what 90% of the software development was looking like. You were not inventing new things all the time. For most stuff that was needed, a solution was already out there somewhere, and you just had to find it and adapt it to your situation. And so I couldn't do this yet. I had no time, no energy left at the end of the day. And I was unhappy with that. I wanted to jump on that train. I wanted to develop things. I wanted to be creative. And I couldn't do that in the role that I accepted there. And then I needed to realize somehow that I'm unhappily stuck. So then in 2024, after I've managed to quit that job, I needed to get clear about the next steps. And that took me a few months, and the coaching program I have bought and told you about, to find out that what I actually want to do is building my own software. I knew the basics. I had the coding assistance from the AI. I could reach for the stars now, right? I could do it. And I noticed again that after quitting the job, there was no structure for me to work in. And that was one of the biggest challenges in my life. I had that in university too, which I pointed out in the beginning. And now, again, I was in this vacuum and I was on my own and I had some money saved and everything. But how do I actually start? What should I focus on? What should I learn first? What kind of programming language should I do something in? And what kind of app? What problem could I solve? And so then this coaching program, it really changed something in me. I have another video about it, that I felt for the first time in my life not being pushed by some bad consequence and this anxiety that many jobs have in them or with them. And I managed to establish a structure that was coached to us that pulled me towards something I want, so that I was doing it on my own free will without some resistance or something. It was what I was waking up for. And this, it's hard to put in words how freeing that is, and how much happiness is in this thing alone. This could fill many videos in itself, this topic. So there I was enjoying the becoming, enjoying being on the way. But then after 3 months, the program ended. And that's when the structure was taken away and I was on my own again. And I knew I needed to continue that way of being and doing. And I could feel very clearly the effect this coaching program, it was a group program with weekly get-togethers to check in, like everybody has set some task for himself for the week, something they want to do and finish. Next steps, maybe talked about the challenges. They left alone and then we came together and talked about it, but without any pressure, without shame, just to see what is the status quo. And of course I could feel the effect of not having that anymore. And 3 months there, it had cost €1,000. So I couldn't afford that again and again, like 4 times a year to cover the whole year. And there at that moment, the idea was born to use the intelligence that was already available at that time of AI to communicate, to have good sentence structure and everything, and even nice quality voices were becoming able to be synthesized. So to kind of simulate a human presence, right? That is the goal somewhere in this direction. And so why couldn't I automate the effects of the coaching program? So that is the idea of Guidian, basically. And so when that became clear, I could go and develop a prototype. And that went quite well. And then I encountered the next challenge after a few months, maybe. So, how to distribute that prototype, make it available for many people at once? And comparing different solutions, I chose to make it a web app. So it would be easily available on all kinds of devices. And before in the job I was in, I just learned about making programs, software for Windows. And that's kind of limiting, right? Many people don't even use a computer anymore, and there are other systems. So when it just works in the browser, everyone can access. Problem is, or was, what I learned was a software developer for these kind of computer programs and not for web development. I wasn't trained to be a web developer. I had no idea how web technology even works. And now I had to remake the thing in a different technology, in different programming languages, and on a different technology stack. That's how you say it. So I felt not at all prepared to do this, and I had a lot of fear of actually trying this. But something in the way I could clear obstacles with the help of AI assistants and my own wits of even making this prototype work. And for doing that, I also had to find out things and do things that I haven't done in the job training. I've only learned basics there, right? So, okay, let's do it again. I think I can figure it all out. And I did. So when the basics were working again, and I could add to it, and I wanted to have this roadmap page, because before everything was just working in a console. The prototype didn't even have a user interface. It was just functions that are connected to AI and how to tell it what you're working on, so it can formulate some supportive sentences to tell you once in a while on an interval timer. And many things regarding the structure that I'm talking about, they were made in that time. And then I had to get the main features working in the browser web app. And when that was done, I could connect the AI focus, which is knowing what you are focusing on, which is then the AI focus, and the selection of that, and also connecting the auto check that the assistant then is able to offer. And another very big challenge was to build the usage tracking for someone using the AI features, and how to to have that calculated in a way that I could profit from it, and also how to make someone online pay inside of your software. I didn't even have an online payment solution, and it, because of some strange bug I had, I remember it took weeks to get the Stripe payment system working and implemented correctly. And I was so frustrated, I nearly gave up. And after getting clear about the naming and some more about the philosophy and the method and some arguments for this app, I could finish the MVP to become ready to get it online and published. And that's how I ended up in this phase here, in this milestone right now, which is launching the early access. Of course, it is launched right now, but there are still some things I want to improve. Currently, for example, the onboarding process and the tutorial for having new users automatically guided to make them understand everything and the basics about how to use the web app. And one of the things on the list next is also to create screen recording and to explain the features more, which I am in preparation of and partly already doing now. So yeah, you could say you are live here, have a live insight into my journey. That was my goal with this video, and also the end of it for now. And I hope you liked it and you could benefit from having from somebody shown the road from a state of fear of being blocked, not being on the journey that they enjoy in their lives, and thereby not enjoying life that much, being in a lot of avoidance and a lot of substitute satisfactions, like playing video games or whatever to get from day to day. Not that there's anything wrong in general with this, but it's like the dosage here. And then to transform into a new mindset and finding new structure to get on the hero's journey and to finally be proud of something that is built, and finally feeling satisfied with the direction and being on the way they're on. And part of the vision is that many more people can share this in the way that I have by publishing their roadmap. My roadmap that you've seen right now is published on the web app, and the menu entry is right now hidden because I didn't finish the tutorial that I have made recently. And there it will be linked, like there's a browser page that looks like the YouTube browser page. You see different YouTube videos there, but in the community page here, instead of videos, you see different roadmaps. So if you like to register, then once you're inside, you can see it there. And in the future, you will be able to see the footsteps many other people have left behind for you to partly copy, take an example in, or just be inspired from. And in the next videos, I will be more in depth with some of the features that are waiting in the platform. So stay tuned if you like it. See you there. Give a like if you like the journey, and comment if you have any questions. See you next time.